I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am. I am. We are.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this very special episode of We Are DownStream Outdoors. This week, I have the pleasure of having Mike Kiefer with me. Mike is a longtime friend. I've known you since you were about 14 years old. All this time I've known him, Mike's been an avid fisherman, avid morel hunter, and just an all-around, quality outdoorsman. Mike, obviously you're the youngest member of our group.
Yep.
So, I mean, but you have a lot of experience because you started at a fairly young age. What's your earliest memories of being in the outdoors?
Oh, I can remember being 3-4 years old, going out back, casting the line out, catching some wild brown trout right out back the house.
That's right. Where your parents live, there's a small stream that flows through there, and it does hold trout.
Piney Creek, where we fished a couple times.
Yes. We've actually done a couple episodes, I believe, on Piney Creek, and we've had a pretty good time every time we went there. Now, obviously, you're known for being a morel hunter too. That's one of your claims to fame in the area is the outdoors is a morel hunter. I've actually jested that if I needed somebody to find a morel to save my life, it would be this guy. He'd be the guy I'd send out. That's like, right. What got you into morel hunting?
Actually, my cousin Blaine.
Your cousin Blaine got you?
First time I ever went morel mushroom hunting.
I gotta ask, how old were you when you started mushroom hunting?
17.
17?
Yep.
You really? I could have swore it was younger than that when you really started.
We went out, poked around a couple, but really getting into it when I was 17.
Okay. How many mushrooms did you find this past season, Mike?
This past season wasn't a very good season.
Okay.
Probably got maybe 600. That's about it.
Not a very good season. You only got 600. Only 600. Not a very good season. Let me reiterate that. For me, a good season is 6. I can have a little meal of morel mushrooms. I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, I get into other mushroom hunting and stuff like that. Have you thought about expanding into other mushrooms, or is there?
I always was curious about it, but I don't know where to find it. That's the problem.
Fair enough. Maybe we'll do a little bit of research together and help you learn a couple of them. Because, one I taught you...
Chanterelles up at your property.
Yep, the one I taught you was chanterelles, and we've been really enjoying the chanterelles. They're great over campfire. Mike's, an avid camper. He camps with us quite a bit out in the wild, along with his girlfriend, who's giving me the stink eye off camera. But yeah, so ultimately, like I said, you've been on a lot of fishing videos with us, and you grew up right along the stream. Did you have an early influence of somebody who really got you into it? Your dad got you into it?
My dad and my Pat.
And
They're both avid fishermen.
Fair enough.
It's kind of a family thing.
It's been a family thing?
Yep.
And knowing your family, I'm sure there was points you were catching fish to keep them, to eat them, but you've gotten past that in your life, you know what I mean?
I never really got into the whole catching and keeping.
Really? Okay.
Besides the steely over there.
Oh, yeah, that big steelhead, yes. Mike and his famous steelhead. That's the thing. I mean, you've been on a lot of adventures with me, Mike, over the years, fishing and whatnot. Even before the cameras were even involved in our lives, you and I have done a lot of fishing.
I remember when we first started talking about your show when we went out fishing. Piney Creek, down in Ganister.
Yep. Now, let's talk about maybe some of the fun stories about in times that you and I went out. Like, I remember times you and I went out on the boat. Do you remember the time we wrecked the canoe?
Yep, down the river.
You and I, Mike and I, we were canoeing down the Frankstown branch of Juniata, right outside of Williamsburg.
Caught a lot of fish that day, though.
Yeah. We were in our canoe. We was in my canoe, and we hit a fast spot of water. And sure enough, didn't we spike the only rock in the middle of the river sticking out?
And he does a willy.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right over we go in this giant hole. Lose all our gear.
Yep. We did get our fishing rods, though.
Yeah, no, I lost my fishing rod.
Lost yours.
I lost my fishing rod. You got yours.
All our lures were.
Yeah, all the lures were gone. It was not a good time.
It wasn't, but then it was just funny. You just look back at it and you're like, man, that's such a good time.
I haven't had that canoe out since. I still own that canoe, but I've not had it out since that day.
I remember going down that same exact spot where we rolled the canoe. my buddy Jim. You met Jim a couple times,
Yeah.
actually. I was in one of his kayaks, and I was going down there, didn't have no oars. I was paddling with a shovel the whole time. One shovel going down, an old plastic snow shovel. It was all good until we got into Williamsburg, and the thing just snapped. But we were right at the boat launch, so everything worked out.
Oh, right on, right on. But on happier notes, I remember times like you and I going out on the John boat down to the big Juniata River, and we'd wear our arms out in 3-4 hours catching smallmouth. We'd go out and catch us a boatload of hellgrammites beforehand. It's a fair amount of work to go out and catch a bunch of hellgrammites, but man, whenever you get into them with hellgrammites,
oh yeah, it's non-stop action, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. And that's something, you know,
we didn't do much of that this year.
We haven't done that in years, honestly, Mike. I mean,
2 years ago I actually did go out. This year, I didn't get one time with hellgrammites.
I haven't been out with hellgrammites in a long time, other than a random one
Yeah,
here or
we
there.
went up to Water Street that
Yeah,
day.
we had found a couple that day. But yeah, hellgrammites, man. If you've never tried hellgrammites are
They are #1 recommended in my opinion.
Oh yeah, whenever it comes to bass in the river, it's tough to beat hellgrammites. It really is. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. This is something I've learned about, you know, over the past couple of years. You know, you and I, we've always went to the water and we've gotten our hellgrammites out of the water. If you can catch them at the right time of year, the hellgrammites actually come out of the water.
Yeah, like flying hellgrammites. Yeah.
Well, before they actually fly, they actually come out while they're still as a hellgrammite worm. Because they go through their metamorphosis on land. And they'll hide underneath things. And I had a buddy I had a buddy that used to stop at this one place down along the Susquehanna River, and he said he would just go along and flip boards up, and they'd be laying up underneath the boards as big as your pinky. Jeez. He said that's where he'd get the big ones all the time.
Some moisture in the wood. That'd probably be a reason why. Though.
Yeah.
Because they have to be kind of semi-wet.
Yeah. They don't dry out completely. Yeah. Have you seen the adult things though?
Oh yeah. They're nasty.
Yeah, they're ugly. There's just no way around it. Hellgrammites in all forms.
I got hammered by one of them actually before night fishing. Me and my dad.
You got bit by one?
Right along the state shed down here.
Yeah.
Yep, we were out there landing. Seen this big old white thing flying. We were like, thought it was a big moth. Next thing you know, it comes over. Seen it was a flying hellgrammite. I was like, oh, okay, well that pinchers on the thing were like that. We lost sight of it. Next thing I know, 5 minutes later, it lands on my arm and boom, draws blood. They hurt. They hurt.
I've never been bit by one. I've picked up many of them, but I've never been bit by one.
It's not pleasant. Not at all.
Yeah, I can imagine. You know, on the adventures, though, you and I have talked about this. As far as waters here in Blair County, there's not too many Mike and I have not fished together on.
Very true.
And even some of the surrounding counties. I mean, Blair County,
I say we fish 75, 80% of them, no doubt. Except for little native streams that we haven't hit.
But we're working on them. We're slowly chipping away at them. There's a lot of them, you know. I talk about this all the time. I think Blair County is one of the most underrated trout fisheries in Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
The trout fishing here in our area, we're truly blessed with our trout fishing in this area. And you and I have been rather fortunate on our experiences with that too. You know, it doesn't seem like you can drive more than 5 or 10 minutes from your house and you're on 3, 4 good trout streams. And, you know, I think that's what's really helped you and myself really develop a love for trout fishing is just how easy it is to get to.
Door. Like I said, for me, Piney Creek was right there. That's one of my favorite pieces of water to fish. I could just walk right out the door and throw out a spinner and catch them all day long.
And that's something you and I have talked about. You know, you might have a possible stepson coming into your life and you're looking at a house where he's going to grow up on that same water. You're like, I want, you know, that boy and, you know, any children that I might have to have that same experience because you know what truly life-changing it is.
Oh, yeah.
Those that don't have them experiences young, you know, I don't feel like they truly grasp you know, how life-changing it is. But then again, because we had them experiences young, we don't know what it's like to, you know, find them experiences later in life.
So we were blessed we grew up around fishing.
Yeah.
That's the big part of it.
Yeah, no, you know, but, you know, people that find it later in life, I'm sure they have it, you know, it's an earth-changing thing for them, you know. But, any other stories you got for us, Mike?
Man, every story we got, all the good ones, has been us, man. 100th episode.
The 100th episode.
Starting in Petersburg. One of the coolest days we have fished. And I had them waders that you got at the auction.
Yep.
They had a hole for about 5 minutes. It started with a little pinhole. Gradually, it just started. I was walking down the rails of trousers at the end of the day in my boxers because I was soaked. My shoes were frozen to my socks. That was a very, very cold night.
That was the same day Aaron and I were wading across the Frankstown Branch.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just look at her and I'm like, this is just dumb. Like, this is dumb. Why are we even doing this?
Yeah, and it was cold.
It was cold.
Very cold.
It's not the coldest trip I've ever been on.
Yep.
I've actually been on colder.
I have been too.
But that was
That's
damn
one
close.
of the top 5.
Yeah, it was definitely in the top 5 of the coldest
Absolutely.
fishing trips I've ever been on.
A couple times on a little J we went. I think it was a little bit colder.
I have one trip that I went on with Jake and Carl, and we'll talk about that story in one of their interviews, maybe both of them. But I have a trip with them guys that was just insanely cold. It was by far the coldest trip I'd ever been on in my life. And then I have a trip with Aaron that was insanely cold. So yeah. Other than the 100th episode.
That's when you go out and catch all the big ones though. When it's cold, a lot of people don't fish this time of the year because it's cold.
Yeah,
you go out there, that's when you catch the biggest trout.
And
muskie, walleye, everything.
Fun little fact I just kind of thought of here, Mike. You know, you said about it, you hinted about it earlier. Mike was actually one of the first guest stars ever on Downstream Outdoors.
Second or third episode.
Yeah, something like that. So you might have actually been the first guest star on the show, which is quite the dubious honor.
Right.
You know, nobody else can never take that from you.
That's right.
But we have the 200th, Mikey. You've been there since the beginning. You was there for the 100th. We have the 200th coming up. We need ideas. It's going to be the dead of winter, man. It's going to be something like February, January.
We've done it before this, so.
Well, you and I have this big ice fishing seminar. Maybe we could get together a big ice fishing episode for everybody.
Still freaks me out about doing it. I'm down. I'm down to try it. I am.
Like I told you, it is weird looking down that hole and seeing nothing.
That's what you're standing on.
Yeah, it is weird. I can give you that 100%, but I think you'll be all right. You know, I think you'll be all right. Something fun we just developed here. Actually, the day of this filming and should be official sometime shortly after this is aired. Mike and I, we're actually going off to school together.
Yep.
Carl's joining us. We're going to become
instructors.
Certified fishing instructors for the state of Pennsylvania. We're really excited about that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Wait. That's cool.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll improve our teaching ability. Hopefully.
Hey, further advanced, you never know.
Yeah.
What could happen after that?
Yeah. Nice little certificate hanging on the wall that collects dust.
That's true, too.
But
Very
hey,
true.
what do we know until we try it, right?
That's right.
Life's an adventure, man.
Something
We got to live it up.
Man, we love fishing, so why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
So obviously we've talked about the morel hunting, we've talked about the fishing, and I mentioned about you hunting. What's ahead for Mike in the outdoors? What's the future hold?
Go out and enjoy it.
Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it.
You continue obviously teaching through Downstream Outdoors.
Yep.
Helping us. Do you ever consider doing any live talks about like morel mushrooms and stuff like that? Or?
No, I'm not a very public person. So.
I know Mike's kind of quiet. Mike's the quietest one of our group.
I am.
By far, he is definitely the quietest one of our group. The women are all rolling their eyes like, "Oh God, no, he talks so much." But no, it's one of them things. Mike's comfortable with me, so he'll talk with me. You know what I mean?
Been friends for a long time.
A long time, dude, and it's gonna be a lot longer.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
well, thank you, Mike, for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for
All right,
having me.
and here's to 200 more episodes, right?
Absolutely.
And Mike will be there all the way. And join us next week for another episode of We Are Downstream Outdoors. Thank you.
Thank you.